So, about 20 years ago, 15 years ago, probably 20, when I got into this long range shooting stuff, I thought I needed a shooting rest. Like everybody on the planet was bench rest shooters. You know, I hadn't really heard about PRS. Don't even know if it was really a thing yet. But I couldn't afford a shooting rest, but I could afford to fab shit up. So I made this shooting rest. And at the time, the lead sled was kind of all the rave. But it never made sense to me why people had to carry bags of shot around all the fucking time, or weights to weigh down their rifle rest. Well, in an attempt to copy that theory on recoil reduction, I filled this entire piece of 1-inch square tubing with lead. It's solid. And it's heavy as hell. Weighs a ton. It's very stable. Even made my own handle. Had this machined for a keyway so that it wouldn't rotate and that I could lock it down. Made my own left to right adjustment, and had a belt around this end of that would capture the butt stock so that it would absorb the recoil. Okay, and you can see here I'm moving the whole pickup. And granted, it's sitting on Line-X with rubber feet, but you get the point. Well, I don't use a shooting rest anymore. I either shoot off a bipod with a bench and a rear bag, or from the prone. Most of the time from a prone. So this has been sitting down collecting cobwebs, as you can tell. And I've lost a couple pieces because I was a shoddy welder at the time, and I'm still not much better. But now that I'm doing these optics reviews, I really want to be able to do like tall target testing and tracking testing, and possibly be able to do it and film it. So what I think I'm actually going to do is repurpose this bad boy. I'm going to remove this, and I'm going to cut this rear piece off at the same height as this front piece, and I'm going to weld a chunk of 1.25 inch steel pipe across there, which has an OD that's similar. I mean, it's quite a bit bigger actually, but in all intents and purposes similar to a Remington 700 Action, so that I can mount a Picatinny rail to it and use this to do tracking testing. I'll let you know how it goes. I'm gonna have to dig my welder out here in the shop, but I just thought I'd share with you guys my plan here. So hopefully this will give me a way to film and do tracking tests without having to move shit around, and without having to have it on a rifle, because I would like to do it here at my shop, which is close to town, and I really don't want to be aiming rifles at, you know, structures and that kind of stuff. So I'm going to get to it, and I'll let you know how it turns out later on. All right, so we got her lobbed off there, and I don't know what the hell I was thinking with 1.25 inch pipe. 1-inch pipe is closer to the diameter of a Remington 700 than 1.25 inch. So we got some 1-inch black pipe. We're going to weld that on. But I want to fill a little bit of this gap here to make it a little more stable in between, so I don't get much flex. So I got me some steel plate here. We're going to lob her off with the old plasma, and then we're going to weld her up with the old Vulcan 220. And as any case, just make sure you don't burn shit up. I mean, don't have used oil containers, you know, with bottles of Cosby sauce under your toolbox. And you know, just make sure you're not going to burn the place down before you start this. So I'll get this cut, and we'll get her tacked up, see what she looks like. All right, so you guys kind of got the idea what I'm going for here. We're going to mount a Picatinny rail on here. I'll drill and tap this. Won't be able to crank it down super tight, you know, like a receiver, but we'll be able to get it pretty tight, and we'll Loctite a pick rail on there. And I'm going to try to find either a couple sections of Picatinny rail or a rather long piece, just so that maybe if I want to do clip-on night vision stuff in front of it, I can show you guys some of that stuff, or who knows. But I might as well take advantage of this whole tube. I'm going to finish welding it up tomorrow because the battery is dead in my welding hood and the safety squints just aren't quite cutting it. So I need to get another 2045 battery to put in my welding hood, and I'll finish welding this up tomorrow, but it's tacked on there, and you guys kind of get the idea. I'll get a finished weight on this too, being full of lead. I'm curious what it will weigh when it's all said and done. I think I'm actually going to cap off the ends, and so they're not just open pipe. I'll cut a couple pieces and cap it off, but you guys get the idea. We'll see how it turns out. Okay, so change of plans today. I swapped out the 1-inch pipe for some rectangular tubing. And the reason I did this was twofold, really. I could get this piece fairly level, and I was worried about being able to drill my holes where the rail would be on their level. And I found some Picatinny rail that's flat on the bottom instead of having the radius, and is 12 inches long. So I'll be able to rail this entire thing if I want to without really having to mess with the radius. So, but yeah, we got her all tacked up. That old Harbor Freight welder sure makes a plumber look like he knows what the fuck he's doing, and I don't, so don't come at me. I just play a welder on TV. But yeah, she's looking pretty good. I'm gonna let this cool off. I'll probably slap some paint on this pig. I got some different hardware here. I grabbed some of these that actually have a 3/8 insert in them, threaded insert, instead of just these rubber stoppers that I was using, because I figured I could get these a little more precise. So we're going to try those, put a lock nut on them, and I'll order the rail, the Picatinny rail stock off of Amazon, get it bolted on here, and then we'll be able to test optics a little easier. So I'm hoping. I do need to cap these ends still. I want to cut a piece to fill the hole in, unless I can find a plug. I got some new plugs for these 1-inch ones, like those ones. So yeah, we'll see what we can come up with here. But there's kind of the final product. I'm going to slap a Rack Pack sticker on that chunk right there after I get her painted on both sides, and the rig's complete. Alright, there's kind of the finished product, and you kind of see what my goal is here. Like I stated, I've ordered two 12-inch pieces of rail. This one's actually off for a Remington 700, but the rail will go the entire length of this top tube. So we should be able to get a pretty sturdy shooting platform, not really shooting platform, but rest to test some of the optical tracking. And I did order some targets from a company that sells tracking targets, and I'll share those with you when they get here. But it'll allow us to basically just test the turret tracking, not so much the actual tracking as when compared to firing, which that's something you'll want to do a tall target test for, and I can maybe do one of those, a video on those, but it'll be a little while. But as soon as the rail gets in here, I'll get it mounted on top. I'm going to throw a couple Rack Pack stickers on here. I might even order some better feet. I know they make some actual 3/8 threaded rod levelers, so I might go that route, because that seems to be the only weak link. You can see these have a little bit of flex to them, and I'm not too concerned about it, because it should, I should be able to be gentle enough to not move this around. But there's the finished product, guys. We got a scope testing rig. We're gonna throw some optics on it as soon as I get the rails, and we'll see what we can test. We'll throw the Discovery, the Arken. I might even chuck like my Razor and my XTR3 on, just to get a baseline. So there you go. All right, guys, there is the finished optics testing jig deal. Got the Picatinny rail mounted. We went ahead with two pieces. It's like 10 and almost 11-inch long pieces. They're mounted. Did get the plastic end caps to kind of spruce up the end of the tubing. Got the sticker installed and some new feet. I might do something still a little different with the feet. These really aren't that sturdy, if you notice. The There's some wiggle in the feet itself. But I think it'll hold us sturdy enough to do tracking. You don't have to get real Western with it to turn the knobs. I'd like to point out, if you're running an AR platform, these ring heights that come with the Discovery are actually pretty decent. If you got a flat rail, you know, like on an AR-10 or an AR-15, then the ring heights are about right. On a bolt action rifle, they're way too high. But if you're going to run them on an AR, great ring height. Also, like I stated before, this tube is full of lead. It was full of lead when I built the shooting rest that I basically modified this into this rig now. So there's substantial weight here. It's fairly heavy. It's not just square tubing. It's quite a bit of weight just with the lead that's in that tube. But there's the finished product, guys. Let me know what you think. If you got any suggestions, I'll definitely take them into considerations. You know, any kind of improvements or modifications. But we'll do some tracking tests very soon. I ordered some targets from Box to Bench Precision that are actual tracking testing targets in mils. So I'll try to do my best to get a 100-yard range set up here at my shop. I think I have enough room. I've never ranged it. But I'm not a surveyor, so it probably won't be exactly 100 yards. I'll do my very best. But if it's not exactly 100 yards, this test could be off just slightly. But I am going to mark it permanently so that maybe I can run, you know, a higher end optic on this tracking test, just to show that the discrepancy is more my inability to get it accurately at 100 yards than it is error in the tracking on the optic. But I will do my best, guys. I'm just a dumb plumber, so take it for what it's worth. But I figured if we could set a baseline and start doing some tests on some of these optics just to show repeatability, tracking, all that stuff, then we can at least get an idea of the kind of quality we're paying for. So thanks again, guys. Let me know what you think.